Unmute me. I don't want to be. I want to be.
The video's off.
Used a horror story.
I don't need my glasses. I only have my.
Charles is online, and you got 1 minute to go. Melody, that's me, Charles, Greg, Bilek, Marco Messia. Good morning, everybody. It is 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday, July 3rd. Nice to have you all with us. There's no one here in the office building because it is closed today, but you can still get in if you really want to. Before we get started, if anybody was freaked out by the word emergency meeting, it was only because we were on a tight time frame with this particular action item. So we wanted to make sure that we got it done before the holiday week. So anyway, let's move on. Lauren, can you verify that the meeting was properly noticed?
It was properly noticed.
And we do have Charles is on virtual, and unfortunately David could not be with us today because he had a pre-scheduled meeting. So, but we will call the meeting to order at 10, maybe
10:01.
10:01. Not fast. Okay. Do you have any owner comments from the folks that are with us virtually?
See anything yet?
And Andrew Duganzik has his hand up.
Andrew?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I just I sent that email over the weekend. Just want to make sure, reiterate that Lowe's and Home Depot are about $1.16 per square foot. Prince and Sons is charging us $1.43. So I view that as 27 cents for labor, which comes to $15,000.
Year or two? Okay.
So just making sure, I'm not an expert in the area, but $15,000 seems a lot to just lay down seed and sod. I know you guys are on a tight time frame, so we probably don't have an opportunity to do too much negotiation, but something that I would have hoped would have been done, or maybe I'm not aware that you guys have negotiated contract down already. So something just to be aware of. Then more of on a go forward basis or lesson learned. Does the board currently require any particular bids? For instance, if a project is between 25 and 50,000, you guys require 2 bids, or if projects are over 50,000, you require 3 bids, just to make sure you're doing your proper due diligence in whatever bid you are approving at the board meetings. It has been vetted out or at least competitively bid. So that's just a potential option for you guys in the future on various things. And then I'm curious, had the item been discussed prior to Grand Manners putting it on the agenda item for June? Or is there any communication that the board has with Grand Manners over what future projects are coming down the pipeline and what is the level of importance? What issues are there? What are the options as far as the turf, reseeding, et cetera, that you guys have those conversations ahead of those board of director meetings to ensure that when you come to the public, you've had your fully vetted out discussion and I guess view of where you want to approach. So just a couple things. Appreciate you guys coming in on Monday on the emergency meeting to get this approved. So we're setting up soccer for success in the fall, but just continue areas of improvement that I'm not criticizing you guys, but just looking to assist you in improving the process overall. So thank you for your time this morning.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for joining us too.
Greg Filak has his hand up as well.
Mr. Filak. You have a question, comment, concern?
We do. We are actually en route right now because it was advertised as a virtual only meeting. We didn't realize it was going to be in person. So we'll be there in about 2 minutes. If you can hold off, we'll do our comments in person.
Does anyone else need to comment? Would like to comment? Is everybody okay with that? If when Greg gets here, you can say something? Okay. All righty. Okay, so knowing that we have another owner's comment going that will entertain as soon as he gets here, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion. Second.
Jared and Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All righty. So that moves us to the action item. Lauren, you want to set it up for us?
Were we not gonna wait for owner's comment?
Well, we still have to move along though.
Yeah, I don't
We
think
can,
it's fair to.
we can at least
Better
have
on
some
the-
discussion.
Yeah, we can. I don't imagine we'll get very far if these two
That
minutes
was my
away.
concern, but it's okay.
I think we'll-
So
Set it up.
He's obviously listening still, so.
Yep,
as
I'm
was
here.
discussed-
Okay.
Okay, as was discussed, field 1 and field 2, the turf is in poor condition. It's slated in the reserve study to be completely redone next year. Obviously, the state of the fields, it's not gonna last that long. At your May meeting, you approved $23,030 from the reserve fund to replace part of the sod on field 1. At your most recent June meeting, you authorized up to $60,000 from the reserve fund to receive bids for overseeding instead of replacing the sod. Unfortunately, because of the timing of the holiday, there's just not going to be the ability to get bids in a timely manner to overseed both fields, get them rested and ready to go for the soccer season beginning in August. So management works with Prince and Sons to propose a new path moving forward. So our current recommendation is to approve the expenditure of $58,450, a little bit less than the $60,000 that was approved in June, on top of the $23,000 approved in May, to resod field 1, address pitch of the crown. Drainage is improved. It's not going to be a perfect repitching of the field, and it's not going to redo the drainage, but it is going to improve the drainage of the field and the pitch to be closer to what it should be. Then moving forward, we will get additional bids for overseeding and reseeding field 2, but this way we get improved drainage on field 1. Field 1 gets completely resodded and is a nice functional grass field for our programming. Field 2, it will delay the opening, but we can get it to the point where it is a functional field. And it buys you about 3 to 5 years to develop your master plan and make some initial expenditures that we expect the board will probably prioritize over doing a turf field out on the CCFC. Overall, it's not just soccer that's impacted by the soccer fields. You have flag football out there. You have an additional flag football team that's coming on board in June. And then you have lacrosse that's coming back in the spring. So it's not just soccer, it's 3 other programs that are being impacted by this. If we don't do anything right now and make one of these fields playable, and you want us to utilize the other fields in the community, that's going to require staff to move the soccer goals around on a daily basis, line the fields out here on a daily basis. And you're going to use more paint instead of just re-going over existing lines. It's going to be more staff time because they're going to have to pull them back at night after the usage is done so they don't get damaged or stolen, because some of those smaller goals are light and easily moved. So it's just a lot of extra move and potential damage to the equipment if we're moving them all over the community.
Can we accommodate the programs with one field?
We can accommodate the programs with the turf field and one field until field 2 is reseeded and rested enough to play.
Before I ask for a motion for further discussion, do we want to, Greg, do you want to give your comment now?
Whatever's good for you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, now
okay,
would be
great.
good.
And thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it.
I'm guessing you were on your way someplace else.
No, I was at home. Like I said, it was only put up as a virtual meeting, so.
Can't drop off.
Yeah. Good kids to drop off. So I did write some written notes. I sent them all to you right before the meeting again, because I thought this was virtual. So I'll just read through them here. And I'll try to be as quick as I can, because it's about a page and a half. Greg Filek, 1445 Stickley Drive, or Stickley Avenue. I am reading this here just as a homeowner, not as by virtue of being on CDD. As a brief refresher for the board and the community, it's been known for over 3 years that these fields have had drainage issues. Discussions in mid-2020 in both board meetings and the finance committee meeting on this topic admitted there was no legal recourse because the board had knowingly selected a design that would likely have drainage problems. In late 2020, the board commissioned a 32-page engineering report at significant cost to the community, which included participation by 4 separate professional engineering and surveying firms. The recommendation was to install a turf pipe system and increase the slope of the fields at an estimated $124,000 per field by bringing in 2,500 cubic yards per field of dirt. Quote, based on the condition of the fields, we believe this is the best option for Celebration, as it is a product that is specifically for fields and golf courses and provides the highest probability of success and maximum playability, unquote. That was from the engineering study. The recommended drainage system is used in NFL football stadiums, indicating this is not a low-quality solution. The engineer report also recommended increasing the field pitch by a factor of 2 to 3 times its current situation by bringing in 2,500 cubic yards of soil per field. Nowhere in the report did they state that the fields are not fixable with any of their 3 options. However, since January of 2021, every board then and since has continued to ignore maintaining this existing $4.5 million asset in favor of other. I emailed the board on February 22nd, 4.5 months ago, reminding the board and management of the drainage issues and the need to fix this problem before the 2023 rainy season. Other residents and I, including Brian Kenzel, have spoken at multiple meetings, including the finance presentation for pickleball earlier this spring. The board took no action. Instead, my email and comments were generically addressed in the president's comments at the February 23rd meeting the next day, stating that the decision of the board was, quote, just decided that we would live with mushy fields, so we're going to live with mushy fields for a while, unquote. The majority of this board continued to ignore this issue. 4 months later, at your June 23rd meeting, your Grand Manor's field manager recommended against resodding or reseeding. Instead, he said, quote, you should get engineers back out and do it the right way to spend the money the way you should, unquote. When asked by Mr. Hayes why it waited so long to get options in front of the board, he was told it was because you had to wait for Prince & Sons to come on as your new landscaper. They have been on contract since late March, now over 3 months. Excuse me, now over 3 months later, you've received a single quote on June 30th.
This wasn't a competed RFP with multiple quotes, which understandably could take time. This was one quote from one vendor. This does not add up. Similarly, not adding up is that nowhere in this meeting did anywhere from staff tell the public or the board that on June 17th, 6 days before your last meeting, your landscaper had already ripped apart Field 1 at an unknown cost, thereby cornering the board into an emergency and removing the option of playing on these mushy fields for at least one more season, so that your field manager and engineer recommendation of doing it the right way could be implemented. Distracting discussions about turning Field 1 into a parking lot was instead mentioned repeatedly at your last meeting. Notably, your standing Parks and Rec committee has not been brought into this discussion, despite the fact that this committee is chartered to be at the center of any discussion with partner programs and athletic amenities. This reiterates the mindset from 3 months ago, where some of you said and others chuckled that you ignored this committee's recommendations.
Greg, hang on just a second. He's obviously over his 3 minutes. Does anyone have a problem with him continuing?
I do not have a problem with it.
No problem.
Right, just checking. Go ahead, Greg.
Thanks.
Today, you have a recommendation from staff to spend $81,000 for Fields 1 and 2, which does not implement any of the drainage actions from the engineer. Number one, the quote says, quote, "This will not be a complete repitching of the field," unquote, and that no new dirt is cited to be brought in. Repitching the crown will simply leave standing water on the sides of the playing areas instead of in the center, which is particularly problematic for younger soccer players who play cross field with goals along the side edges. Number two, the vendor quote does not address getting the water out with subsoil drainage systems, as was the recommendation from the engineer. The board should simply push through this and get the fields properly fixed, as both the professional engineering study and your Grand Manners field manager have both said should be done. While this is particularly inconvenient because it is both unplanned and has come about as a result of poor oversight, and once again, the children of the community have yet another amenity unavailable for use, that's unfathomable that the board would spend $81,000. Well, staff admits doing so, that means that the real fix is 3 to 5 years out. This entire process to date has been mismanaged. The board and staff were given adequate notice so as not to leave the community holding an $81,000 bill for a solution that history has already shown us will only last approximately a year. Board leaders have mischaracterized the 2021 engineering study, either intentionally or simply by not understanding what the report said. Vendor quotes were not immediately requested when your new was brought on board. Fields were ripped up knowing that a viable solution had not yet been finalized. However, the board does have options. The new field at the K-8 school will be completed by the time school starts. The school district has already indicated to me they will grant access for this area for general community use for the new space, as long as it doesn't interfere with school activities. This wasn't necessarily intended to allow a partner sports program use of the field, but could be a quick discussion. I put my notes today, but they're closed today. I've already started the conversation that they would pick up on Wednesday if CROA wants to pursue it. East Village could be used as well. Something as simple as a porta potty had to be brought in with CROA staff, providing water cooler in practice. It could potentially meet the needs of some of the partner programs for split operations. Do the right thing. Fix these fields the way they should be. Be professional enough, respectful, to firmly hold your management company to account, up to and including sharing the cost of the temporary fixes that this may require. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg. Does anyone
So
want to
can I make a motion? Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to,
discuss in more detail?
I'd like to make a motion to discuss in detail.
Okay. Have a second. Jared? Okay. Discuss. Who wants to go first? Charles, go first since you made.
Yeah, I'll go first. So I would echo everything Greg said to a certain extent. I would go back though to the children comment, and obviously, these are multi-purpose fields, right, for special events and for everyone in the community. So I think as we look at this, I think there's accuracy to the overall sentiment, and I think the reality of where we are today is we're going to have to just fix this. We're going to have to take it on the chin, in my opinion, and we're going to have to fix the mistakes of prior board sins. I think it's unreasonable, irresponsible at this point to continue to put sod down, continue to patch things up, and not address the root cause. At this point, I think we need to just put the drainage in, figure out, can we use East Village? Can we create some other solutions? I understand paint and porta potties and all that, but in the long run, It's the right thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. And at this point, we have to fix the sins of boards past, because I think we just need to get it right. That's my comment.
I agree. I agree. Is there I was out there this weekend and field 2 is usable. Field 2 is mushy in parts. I'll agree with that. But field 1 is has already been ripped up.
And because of the May 23,
The May
Action
23rd
item.
meeting. And actually, Prince and Sons came on board in May. Not March.
They started in May. Okay. And so is it an option to, like Charles is saying, do the right thing for field 1 and get field 1, because then we still have field 2 and the turf field to use. That, I believe, leaves enough space for the partner programs. And then we're just focusing on field 1 currently, because unfortunately we have to do something on field 1 because right now it's just dirt.
So is your suggestion to take this or a portion of this money and use it to redo field 2 at this point, and then get bids to correct the irrigation issues on field 1? Is that what you're saying?
No, just do everything on field 1 currently, because
Yeah.
field 1 right now.
Yeah, and I think to that point, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, they're gonna have to pick up the side, the irrigation. To
Well,
do
but we
right.
can fund that with but so the drainage would be capital, correct? Because that's an improvement at the end of the day. The sod would be from replacement because that's in the study. So I don't see necessary, and then the operating fund, obviously, the porta potties and things along those lines. But I think we can do this. Now, I think the only question, and I've heard the drainage, can we look at just fixing drainage on field 1, or do we have to do both at the same time? Because I've heard there's connections, and Bill, I don't know if you know anything about that, or
pretty sure it's all. My understanding is it's all connected, but we'd have to have an engineer come out here and tell us what would be required. I mean, we have the engineering report from MBV, I believe it is, this company. But still, you're gonna have drawings and things.
How long would that take?
prepared.
Because I have the report here, and the report says it was basically built below spec. It was a spec, it wasn't built spec,
Mhm.
and it's never gonna be right. It doesn't meet, just to refer to the high school guidance, whatever, high school committee decides what the slope should be on the field. And certainly we need the fields fixed correctly. And to me, it's a matter of, can we serve 2 goals here? 1, fix the fields correctly, and 2, service our programs. That kids play soccer.
So we have the original specs, and we've got the report, so then it would just be generating an RFP for the fixes and whatever time frame to get responses back, evaluating those RFPs and then board approval, permitting. And
We have no recourse against the people who actually put them in because they didn't follow specs. It's been too long, or that's an option.
No,
maybe.
your board accepted the
The
lower
specs.
spec.
We knew it wasn't gonna
You
work.
knew it wasn't gonna work when you approved the.
Not misunderstood.
Not your board, but the
You're
board that
clear?
was in place.
Not
A
this
board.
board. And I am not the one who said, let them play on mushy fields either. Just saying.
A board approved them, built the way they were.
So my only argument is that if we can just work on field 1, then we don't need to worry about moving goals and things, because field 2 and the turf fields leave enough program while we focus on 1 field. Rather, if we do field 1 and 2, then we have more problems that.
So, I mean, the only thing is just gonna continue to degenerate through this time. We all.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna use more than it normally would.
So back, years ago, when we were going through the whole pickleball thing, Ryan had the idea of putting it on field 1. That was extensive conversation. We'll do field 1 with pickleball, and the rest of field 1 will be turfed with artificial turf, and field 2 will have artificial turf. Do you remember that?
The discussion, it had come up about using turf, but as I recall, the board was unwilling to commit to that because it was going to be $600,000 per field, and particularly that you were going
over from field 2 into field 1, it'd be even more than that, because you're gonna take about a third of field 1 for artificial
But-
turf. It's just gonna be 800 grand artificial
But-
turf. The discussion then was just.
During the Parks and Rec meeting that I sat in, we had discussion with Marco and John, and they said that would work, that they would be able to utilize the fields. And we had discussion of moving things and a gas line and sidewalks, and we had all of this discussion so that the turf would be there and there wouldn't be any issue anymore, because then there wouldn't be mud and the kids could play 365 days a year. There was multiple discussions, Parks and Rec,
The problem now, though, is you've got
But-
more programs.
but,
That's just soccer.
Right, so I was on the Parks and Rec, and that was
I
one of
know.
the discussions.
right, it was a discussion with the board in detail also. And there was a big outcry. You also sent I'm gonna finish my conversation, Jim. Okay?
Okay, Celia.
You also sent an email, Greg, that you didn't feel that was right, that we were taking part of field 1 away from the kids.
It's just adults and special events and all that stuff. Everyone, right? Because you have flag football.
You
have
sent an
soccer.
email saying that we were taking, there was some screaming from the community. Lee Moore was there, that we were taking the field, but it was workable at the time. So we would have had turf. And it wasn't gonna cost $600,000. That was the quote?
For one field was 600,000. Since you're bleeding from field 2 into field 1, it's gonna be even more.
But everybody fought against that. You would have had the solution fixed then, so. I'm just saying, this is just going on and on and on because of a board that hired this company and we have no recourse against them. And the company that said that they can fix it also said there was no guarantee it was gonna work.
No, they did not.
Yeah, I was sitting here at the board meeting when Brian Kensel said it. He said, we can go for this fix that they're suggesting.
Your
But there's-
engineering report says nothing of that kind.
Well,
Your engineering report
okay.
explicitly says this. is
Whatever
a
the
high-quality
engineer report says, Greg, I was at the meeting. I watched Brian Kensel with his hands behind his back, kicking his feet, saying, we can do this, but there is no guarantee that this is gonna work.
I remember that too.
I remember it. I can find
I'm going based on what the
Can we-
professional engineering report says.
Okay,
Can we-
well,
Uh,
can we what? We're having a discussion.
Can we speak as well?
You can speak when I'm done.
How long will you be speaking?
I'm done.
Thank you.
You have something to say, Jim? Because I do too.
You go ahead.
I was gonna say that from being there this weekend, I do think field 2 should eventually be a turf field as well, because the way that field is laid out, there also could be not a regulation size baseball field, but that could be turfed and marked for both soccer, football, and baseball field there as well. So there is, now that is not a conversation for here, and I'm not trying to bring that up as discussion because we're not anywhere close to prepared for that. But that's another reason to not do anything with field 2 now, because there could be other things that could be more beneficial there later.
Can't do baseball on field 2.
We can't put baseball. Yeah, baseball would not.
That was part of the
Okay, well-
original discussion of that plot.
Yeah, let's.
So
Hey,
But the spirit of what you
actually,
said.
we're not questioning that was Brian's characterization of the engineering report. We're talking about what the actual
I
engineers.
understand that, but when the board is having a discussion and the president of the board at the time said, no, I think Diana may have been the president, I'm not sure, because this goes
Not me.
back. This goes back to when
I
it was on the
understand.
board, I'm just saying, this is what was discussed.
I understand. I
Fix
understand.
it.
I
But
think a
there
lot
was
of this is
no
not germane
guarantee.
to the
We wanna
topic
talk
at
about
hand.
facts today,
Right.
not previous board members'
Right.
interpretation.
Yeah,
of something.
Yeah,
But that's what
Cindy,
got
can
us
we,
to this.
Cindy,
understand.
can we focus? Cindy, can we focus on the conversation at hand? We're talking about today. Brian Kinzel is not on this board. Prior board members are not here.
I
This is-
understand that. I'm
I'm-
just saying that is
I'm
what
saying that
got
we
us
need
to
to
this
issue, we need
predicament.
to find the correction right now. Jim, do
Right.
you have comments?
Right.
he did. Are you done, Jim? Or are you
Uh,
not?
no.
Okay, sorry.
No,
Go ahead, Jim.
I agree with Charles and Jared that we should do field 1 right. Leave field 2, if we can get a sign off from our partner programs. Leave field 2 the way it is. until we finished with field one. And then we'll talk about whether we fix it the same way we did field one, or we look at AstroTurf.
My turn.
Of course.
Okay.
Can I make one more
Thanks,
comment?
everybody. Let me talk first. Make a note of it so you don't forget,
Okey doke.
okay? Is that okay? Okay.
Yep.
So to some of Greg's comments about using the field in East Village and putting a porta potty up, I appreciate the comment and stuff, but as someone who used to live right across the street from that, the cars and stuff, I mean, I got around, that was okay. But there were many times that I'd had to back around the curb because people park on both ends of the street, and once somebody starts coming down, you can't come this way. So I would back up blind around that corner to let somebody out, number one. Number two, do you really think the people that live in that neighborhood are gonna want a porta potty there? I mean, we paid extra for that lot, so we'd have a nice open field, and we were told it would not always be that, maybe. You know, maybe somebody might build something on it, but that didn't include a porta potty there. Plus, the East Village pool is right there. They could get in there, just have to walk a little bit. I don't think we would need a sign off from the partner program, because doesn't their contract include, just like everybody else's, if we can't put you here, then we will find a place for you to play, right? So we don't need the sign off, so that's.
That's not what I said. I
No,
was more
somebody
like,
said-
let's participate with the partner.
No,
program
somebody
to
said
make sure.
something about getting a sign off,
Okay,
because I wrote it down.
all right.
And then the last thing I was gonna say was Greg's partial solution about using the field over here. I believe you said that does not, they didn't specify partner programs. So that really doesn't help us a lot. That would be when school's in session, just free play for residents after
So,
school.
so I'm breaking apart. So two separate, you are on contract right now for the front field right across the street here.
Correct.
That you guys can use as you've always used if you wanted to put stuff out there, which soccer used to be over there.
Right.
I'm talking also, they're building the new field in the back, in the
Right.
center of the track. They're gonna build a full-size football field that during the week, the school is going to use that for soccer every day of the week. I confirmed this morning, but it will be available for use during the weekends.
Right.
The conversation with the school district so far has been, they are going to allow, as long as there's no damage, general community use, but it wasn't contemplated about having organized teams out there. That's a conversation I can pursue with them to say, hey, would you be okay on Saturdays or Sundays during the weekend to CROA's partner?
So what I said was correct.
I don't know.
Until
Yeah.
further discussion, as presented right now, the only agreement is that they will let us use that field when school is not in session.
The backfield, that's always gonna be the case. When school's in session.
Exactly. When school's not in session, but I mean, once school's let out at 5 or
Right.
5:30
But
or
your partner
whatever,
programs don't play back there until after school.
you know, so that's a time when residents can go and do a pickup game of something or another or whatever, and on weekends. So that's kind of, in my opinion, that's a discussion for another time. Because we can't do anything. We don't know that right now. So Charles, you're next.
Yeah, just a couple of things. So I think the short-term inconvenience to me outweighs the long-term benefit, I think outweighs the short-term inconvenience. So the short-term inconvenience, if we're talking about this, obviously we have to sort through the fields, we have to sort through the painting, the porta potty, all that. To me, it's a better conversation to bring to the community that we're going to fix this the right way. There's going to be some short-term inconveniences, obviously, with porta potties, with paint lining, with moving things around, and with management and all that. But we're going to do it the right way. And how many times have we done it the right way? I can't even think of any off the top of my head. I mean, the building you're sitting in, 851, not done the right way. Soccer fields, not done the right way. I think this is a real chance for us to do this the right way, even if we have to just deal with some of these, hurdles and things to get us there. I think this is really the right thing to do. And I think artificial turf, I don't think we even entertain that right now. I mean, the cost and obviously everything we have going on with the master plan, that's a later conversation. We don't need to get into any of that. Right now, we just need to get the maintenance addressed and we need to do it the right way.
So Lauren, what is the, if we were to just do field one and re-engineer it, like follow the engineering report and go forward with that, what's this, what would be the steps to do that? Do field one the right way right now?
So I need to take the MBV study. I need to take the original schematics of the field, make sure they match the study and the correct pitch and drainage requirements. Then we'd have to develop an RFP for building that. We'd probably, and then go out to bid. I don't know if there's any permitting required. There probably will be out there going through that. So you're looking at a good timeframe.
And can I just say the alternative is I've had kids in soccer and flag football. Even if it is mushy fields, the games get canceled, practices get canceled. So you're paying for a full season, right? And to no fault of the partners or whatever, they get canceled like the day before, they get canceled the day of, you know, because the fields are unusable, even when they're just mushy. So.
So when you say, what, 6 months? I honestly don't know.
I would-
No,
I
but
assume 6.
I would say
At least 6
yeah,
months
I mean,
before they're playable or before we could actually even move on it.
Even move on it.
well, I mean, I would just say the permitting that we saw, and obviously it won't be as extensive as it was with the original pickleball plans. I mean, that took a good 6-7 months to get through Reedy Creek in the county for that permitting.
But we don't know. that.
But I don't know, I can't give you a specific timeline.
I think we need to do what we need to do. And if we need to make this a priority, if we need to get extra help in, consulting, whoever, for the management company, this should be done. This should be done post haste. And I think that, as Charles said, we need to commit to doing it the right way. Take whatever bumps and bruises that will bring to us.
So does this have to go through, I'm just trying to think from a procurement perspective in terms of getting multiple bids. And this is obviously a larger conversation just around procurement and RFPs. Is there some form of like midway, not getting full blown RFP? Can we just get comprehensive bids? Do we have to? I don't know. I'm going to pose that
I mean,
question.
you can get comprehensive bids, but your contract requires me to do RFPs for anything over $10,000 within reason.
Are there different levels of RFPs?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear that,
But we
Charles?
but we as a board could, how do I say this? Direct management to go for a lower level of RFP and or bid, correct?
Correct.
Expedite the process.
Correct. Fast track. Yes.
So if instead of sending a 30-page RFP on it, that's just a number I threw in there. Maybe we could do 5 pages with the, the meat of it. Is that what you're suggesting, Charles? To expedite it
Yeah,
or let them come up with
I would say-
something or somebody,
We have to get the scope. We got to make sure the scope of work
right?
is
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, scope of work and also gives us the
Liabilities.
timeframes,
Sure.
protections, liabilities, all that.
Correct.
I just don't think if you're doing this correctly, if you want to do this the right way, I don't think you want to try to expedite the process that much by lowering the quality of the RFP, because you're gonna need a detailed scope of work to ensure that the pitch and everything and the drainage is correct. That's what got you here in the first, I mean, you had the correct schematics, I believe, from the last time I looked at it in the original specs, but the decision was as a cost saving measure, was to not go that route. So if you want to do it right the first time, you need the correct specs, you need the very detailed responses.
And we need,
Okay.
I agree with you. We need all the checks and balances into it to make sure we have recourse if we don't get it right from the contractor. Not be sitting here looking at it was built wrong. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
Which is what happened years ago.
I think we should hastily be doing anything. If we're gonna do it right,
Yeah.
even if it's gonna take a year or so to get it implemented and get everything going. I think we should do all the fields at once and then also see what the option is for the artificial turf, because that'll save money on overall mowing, treating, everything. We lay all our options on the table.
It's po- I would
Sounds
assume
like
it's
a master
possible to
plan.
make this a two-phase procurement then, isn't it?
Right.
We could do
Right.
the first field. When it's appropriate, then move on to the second field. No, we don't have to waste another procurement.
I think that's all fair.
Okay. So what do you, when you say do the first field, what do you say?
Field one.
It has to
Saying
be
fix the drainage and the
the way
pitch
it should
of
have been
field,
done in the first
field
place,
one.
which
But
would close it
Yeah,
for probably.
at the same
Yeah.
time, as part of the going out to bid, we also request bids for artificial turf on field 2. You can take it or leave it if you choose, but at least we have it all there in one big package.
So then we don't have to rip it up.
We don't have to bid it the second time.
Right.
Then you might save some money on mobilization costs too, if you're telling them you're doing it in phasing.
We hear from Marco since he's going to talk Marco about any of this. I'm sorry because you're one of our biggest partner programs on the field. So it's important that we get some feedback from you, I think.
Thank you. I thank you for having me. Thank you for all the.
Thank you
hard
for
work.
coming.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all the hard work. I know it's not easy. Thank you for the Parks and Rec for doing an amazing job with us. It's a very hard work there. Laura and Nikki, Jason is doing beautiful things over there. And I've been there 7 days a week, at least 4 hours a day. My opinion, we have a lot of things to do, but saving money right now is, I understand the priority for the other stuff is happening in celebration. Reseeding field 2 and finishing field 1 with the right way will help our programs, will help our business, will help other partnerships programs to make it happen over that. But the correct way to fix that, like Greg said in the beginning, and I agree with him 100% about that, is redoing all the drainage in field 1 and 2.
Sir, I'm sorry, repeat what you just said.
The drainage.
The drainage.
The
Okay,
drainage, sorry
thank you.
about my English, I'm
It's all
sorry.
right.
CEDA brings something really good in our attention. We have a discussion, the Parks and Rec in 2019, about turf field 2 and 1/4 of field 1 and make the pickleball in that time or leave for long sports on 3/4 of field 1. It was really nice, but was not a combination. We recommended in that moment, lot B, right, Tanya, to make pickleball over there and leave the field in the future with a plan, fix the drainage over there. So my suggestion right now is finish field 1, is already rip off the grass and everything. If it's possible, fix the drainage would be great. And just reseeding field 2 for 1 more season or 2 more seasons, so we have time to plan and save some money for all the other things that we need here in celebration. It's just my suggestion. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, Charles.
So,
I have a question on the agenda. If we were to change the agenda dramatically, which may be doing, how specific do we need to be to the numbers? Because
You don't need to be specific as to the
Okay.
numbers because we're not spending any money at this point. I'm assuming, based on the conversation, you're directing management to go out to bid to fix the drainage to correct specs and potentially get bids on field 2 for field 2 is my under.
I don't think the second one, I don't think we're ready to do the second one, but we do want, at least I do, want everything that you said with field 1.
To
Yes.
do it as an option.
so the work that's already been done on field 1 is part of what we approved last
Correct.
month.
In May,
And that includes only,
was 16,000 square feet of sod. And then
So-
you're gonna have unlevel playing field if you seed in the rest or whatever it may be.
so we're not gonna want them to sod now because it's gonna be dug up again.
Correct.
So how does that affect the contract that we currently have with?
What happens with that sod?
They already ordered it, they're held to it.
Yeah, no.
Can
could
you
we use it in the
can't,
dog park?
I mean,
So,
We
I
approve
mean,
that.
we have sod in other
Good
parks
idea.
that we need to replace, so we can reallocate. We're just gonna have to reallocate and then get the board to
but
approve that.
they've already
reallocation.
started preparing, there's certain other stuff that you have to utilize to start preparing the ground. They've already done labor on it. I mean,
So, I mean, we're gonna owe them a little bit of money, but not
Yeah.
the significant chunk they
Yeah.
can do.
That's fine. They've
And
done
we can,
work, so.
we can reuse the sod,
Yes,
like you
and
said.
the tear out that they've done already will, I mean, obviously,
It's gonna be,
it's gonna save time.
be part of the
later,
next,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's no customer, no correct solution.
I just think it's important. Field one is dirt right now.
Yeah.
So every single day, someone's gonna walk by that and say, what's the process on this? So we have to be while we have to be responsible, we have to be fast on this. Because it's.
Without affecting quality of work.
Yes.
Yeah, so
But
We're
we're
making
gonna have
quick
to-
decisions and stuff, so.
corporate has vendor services and they specialize in writing
We have a call at
RFPs
1.
like this. So we have a call with them at 1 about something else. So I'll tack this on there and they'll assist in getting all the specs and ready to go.
Great. So, are we at the point we can change the motion and
I think
Either
so. Does
discuss
anybody
it
else
or-
have anything?
No.
Everybody good? Know what they wanna?
Charles, want to change your motion?
So, well, we had a motion to discuss. So I guess I'll withdraw that motion.
Yeah.
And now. I
Jared,
guess,
you wanna, your
you wanna-
second as well?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're back to square one.
so I guess I'll make the motion to direct management to move forward with an RFP for field one to address drainage and sodding
and pitch?
concurrently
right.
and pitch, and then concurrently reseed field two.
Do we want to do that?
Or
Do we need to do that?
We really should reseed field two.
We should, but we're gonna have to work on timing with
Yeah.
Okay.
Marco's group because
Right.
they're starting in
Just get down to
August.
field.
So
Yeah, we're not going to be able to do it right away, correct?
Using some of that sod is a good idea for patching. doesn't
No,
work.
because it's uneven, it
Right.
could create
Okay, I'm
safety.
just making that clear for anybody who
Yeah.
maybe.
Exactly.
So we'll reallocate the sod to other parks that need some additional sod. And we'll work with Marco's group on timing for reseeding and get you guys a bid.
So when they
Okay.
reseed, it's just like we're looking at a 3-week period when they reseed.
You usually need to rest for 4 to 6 weeks once you reseed, especially if you're playing on that with cleats.
so I guess that motion will work.
Okay, so-
Also with the alternate of a turf option for field two.
We'll have that part of the RFP.
Okay. Just making sure. So I'll second that.
So Charles's motion was to direct management to get an RFP for field number 1 to include fixing the irrigation the way it probably should have been done from the beginning, making it
Drainage,
Drainage.
pitch, correct spec.
pitch, for everything as it should have been done to start with. And then get bids also on resodding or putting
Sure.
turf or
Artificial.
reseeding field 2.
Yeah.
Based on overall cost and whatever. Is that what you meant, Charles? I get that?
Yes, that's the spirit of it. Yep.
Okay.
So we need to get a guarantee from whatever company that we choose that they're gonna do it right.
100%.
And a timeline if possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, we will,
And also have
like last week.
Tom
Well,
help us draft up.
we can also dictate a lot of that as well. I was
Yeah,
just gonna ask,
absolutely.
Can we have the RFP? Is it possible to have the RFP by the 12th?
Well, I'll have to get back to you after our call with.
If you can ask that, can the RFP be ready for the board by July 12th?
So the workshop?
Yeah.
Do we vote on anything like that or just?
July 12th,
say it?
I'm just trying to present, trying to put a timeline on things. Otherwise, it's the August meeting that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll ask. I
we'll
mean,
ask, but.
The problem is there's a lot of people on vacation this week too. So
Yeah, I mean, it's that or it's the August
Ideally,
board
yeah.
meeting, so.
if we can get it, we
Well-
can get it. If not, we'll.
You can always
One more,
postpone the workshop too.
What about the
Yeah.
monthly meeting?
one more critical
Anyone,
thing
better
too.
date, please. That's it.
Yeah, one more
Well, see-
critical, I know we're getting ready to vote, but one more critical thing, obviously, as we get in front of the budget too, I think the timing is critical as we start talking about some things that could leak into operating with porta potties and other things. So I think the sooner we can mobilize this, the better.
I think,
Is it like at completion? Is it? It's like.
It depends on what
What
it
is
is.
there also forms where you could guarantee your timeframe?
That's what, yeah,
There.
once per,
Payment
what is that, once per, twice Leary? Yeah. We got that, we got that.
All right, so,
One more comment. So, just not part of the motion, but just in general, a majority of that would come from the capital fund.
Your drainage and repitching would be capital, your new sod. If you're redoing some of the irrigation, that would be reserve.
if you're moving to artificial turf.
That's purely capital, purely.
Yeah, that is pure capital, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, are we ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Still? Good. Okay. Any opposed? No? Okay, motion passes with everybody in agreement. And then back to the urgency thing, you know, you can't,
Six approved this. David's not here.
but you said everybody here, everybody who's here participating. So you'll see what you can do to get for the 12th workshop, an option, you know, if you find out that's a little bit too quick, you know, maybe we try to reschedule the workshop within a couple days from what we originally had planned or whatever. We'll leave that to them to.
I'll send you an email after our 1 o'clock call.
All right. Okay, board comments. None? Jim?
Same as last time. I'll say none. If everyone else says none. But if someone else speaks, I
Seal?
reserve the right to talk.
Nope. Bill?
Nope.
Charles?
None.
I just want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July tomorrow. We've got a lot of stuff going on in town. We've got the parade in the morning. We've got the fireworks at night. Tonight is the annual Celebration Community Course 4th of July concert. It's only about an hour. It's great. It's free. So if you're not doing anything this evening, try to attend that. So with that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice 4th of July.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Discuss this.
Yeah.
Relatively painless.
What was it? That's happening at 1 o'clock and where?